Hello and welcome to the Pinfall. Today's show is a review of the 34th annual Royal Rumble. We look at who the winners and losers of this event were, who looked like a star, who was we glad to see, the surprises, the shocks and who we missed. My name is Wilbs and I am the host and I'm joined by Jordan and Barnsey. Lads, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. You up, Barnsey?
Yeah, good mate, yeah. Been a couple of days now since the Rumble, so looking forward to digesting this one.
Good stuff. Well, thank you very much for giving the Pinfall a listen today. This is our 14th episode, and we're trying to improve with all the episodes we do. Also trying to grow our listeners each week. So please can you support the show by giving us a follow on Twitter. We are at the Pinfall Pod. From there you can find links to all three of our personal Twitter accounts. You can also follow us on the YouTube channel. And we are now on Instagram. We are the _Pinfall _podcast. And there you can see Jordan's lovely little bits of artwork that he's been doing. Very talented man. We're going to get straight into the show. We're going to go straight into the show. The very first match on the card was Drew McIntyre defeating Goldberg to retain his WWE Championship. In this match, Goldberg kicked out of the Claymore and McIntyre kicked out the jackhammer before McIntyre picked up the win. What did you think of this match?
I think it went exactly how we all thought it would. I think it gripped the wrestling community because everyone was so scared at a potential Goldberg win. But yeah, you could almost feel it when Drew got the 3 count of this massive sigh of relief and right, let's get into the pay-per-view now. Yeah, it was just what is expected. It was a little different to how they were with Drew starting before the bell, but yeah, pretty happy with the result and glad it was done and out of the way at the start of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think the only surprise for me was that McIntyre attacked Goldberg before the match. It's usually the heel that does that, or Goldberg the challenger. But when it went to the outside, the first thing I thought when he went through the barricade was, God, if Naomi returns tonight, they're taking away some of her tools that she can use to get back into the ring with. But yeah, like Jordan just said, for a minute I was a little bit worried that Goldberg might actually win. But thank the Lord, McIntyre gets the victory and we sort of can move on from this, hopefully. I don't mind, like we said in the preview, Goldberg being on the show. Just don't put him in the title match. It was like when The Fiend was messing around with the title. He doesn't need to be in it. So yeah, happy McIntyre retained and yeah, see who he's going to feud going into Mania season.
Cool. The next match on the card, we had Sasha Banks retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship against Carmella. This was the second match these two women have had, and I thought it was another solid match.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was sort of filled the gap because you felt like Sasha's taking this belt to Mania, so it was just one of those matches and just one of those feuds that just fills the time in between sort of now and Mania. And yeah, this sort of repackaging of Carmella with Reginald, it works quite well and it suits Carmella, this sort of heel shtick. So yeah, like you just said, very good match. And again, just rightly so, it was good to see Sasha coming out with the belt.
Yeah, great match. I mean, the only thing that concerned me in this match was that hellacious dive where Carmella went to the outside and took out Banks, where she nearly sort of broke her back in a way. And it was great to sort of see the care that they have for one another with, just the subtle rub on the back to make sure that Carmella was all right, the little whisper in her ear. And she stayed down a little bit longer than I thought, but once she got back up, it was a good relief. And yeah, like George said, she plays the heel character so well, Carmella. So yeah, it's good to see her in the title picture. And yeah, we move on with Banks. Another impressive performance. Loved her little suplexes and frog splash that she does in homage to Eddie Guerrero all the time. Brings back some good memories. And yeah, Reginald being involved. I think he's going to be a bit of a star in the future, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing him, potentially wrestle on the men's roster in maybe the Cruiserweight division or something. He's got something about him. That match he had with Sasha on SmackDown the other week, I thought he was pretty impressive. So you don't expect him to almost be as nimble as he is and quite athletic, but yeah, looking forward to seeing what he's going to do, and hopefully Banks is going to go on and fight the winner of the Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah, I was going to say that I enjoyed their match on SmackDown with Reginald. I think he's quite a good character actually they've brought in. So enjoying their little partnership there.
I think he come from a NBA sort of halftime show, similar to Carmella, where I think she was a Lakers cheerleader. I could be completely wrong, and he sort of come from the same background. So it's nice to see you can take those dance moves and you can put them in a wrestling ring and definitely put on something entertaining. And it must be quite nice for, especially when Sasha's in there, you can trust him that, he's got so much experience with these sort of choreography that you can almost trust him not to hurt you and not just tip you out of the ring or whatever when going through these sort of sequences.
Yeah, after this match, we had Bad Bunny performing the song Booker T. How did you rate Bad Bunny's performance? Is this something you want to see at the Royal Rumble?
Me and Matt, we both stayed up live for this, and so we were texting each other back and forth, and I was just in hysterics that Booker was just standing there, and I'd never heard this song before, and I was like, surely he's doing a bit more than this, and then just at the end he does his catchphrase. It was just very, very random. I always feel a little bit gutted for Booker T because all Rumble they set it up and teased it that it was like he was going to be in it, and it just never come to fruition, and I felt a bit sorry for him, and it even got me a bit excited to see Booker T, who looked in incredible shape for his age, not come down to the ring and just give us one more moment in the ring, or maybe another spinneroonie after eliminating a few.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just pretty excited that Booker T might come back, considering the shape that he's in. But obviously not to happen. But I'm not going to even talk about Bad Bunny. That was just, or whatever his name was, shocking.
Well, that wasn't the last we saw of him, but we'll come on to that a bit later on. We're going to talk about the Women's Royal Rumble match very shortly, but let's just go back to the pre-show before we do, because on the pre-show we saw Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeat Asuka and Charlotte Flair to win the women's tag team titles. On the preview pod we did last week, we all thought that Asuka and Charlotte would retain. So was this a bit of a shock?
I don't know if it was a shock. I just don't really think who cares? I'm just so not invested in the story. I think it was always going to be some sort of run-in from Lacey Evans, and obviously later on in the card we see him come to blows in the Rumble again. So, yeah, whoever will come out of this match with the belts literally couldn't care. The only thing I'd say about the match is I did quite like the way it ended, in the way that Charlotte Flair was completely knocked out and she sold it so well. I literally thought she was lifeless in the ring. And then obviously Nia just put the nail in the coffin with a leg drop to get the pin. But yeah, I can't see this lasting, and I just have no interest in this feud, this match. Let's move on.
Yeah, I've said it for the previous few pods now, sort of how I think the relevancy of this belt is. I'm very much pro scrap it, and it's this pushes my point again, because during the match, or the ending of the match, is setting up a singles feud between Charlotte and Lacey. I'm not surprised Nia and Shayna did win, whereas we are entering Mania, the road to Mania now. So having Flair and Asuka not together, it can certainly set them up for two big singles matches at Mania, either facing each other or just both having separate matches on the card. So, like Matt just said, there was no real care for me on this. There's no real women tag teams. I liked your idea in the preview, Wilbs, taking it to NXT with the Dusty Cup and letting just Triple H and the Yellow Brand look after it for a while, and maybe get a secondary women belt for the main roster. I definitely feel that's the way forward for this women's division. So, it's lost its relevancy for me.
Yeah, I'm glad that Asuka hasn't got the two belts now. I feel like now let's just concentrate on the main Raw women's title with her. Don't let her be sort of occupied with the tag team belts. There's plenty of other women on the card who can do that. So in that aspect, I was happy. And we've got Jax and Baszler as the champs again. So let's see where they take it.
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of seen them have the belts for a couple of months now, and I mean, for me, they've not set the world on fire, but that's just because I think there's not that level of competition that we see, like George just said, in NXT. So, yeah, I say, let's move on.
And as well, we'll talk about it later, but even those two together, they're not like a unit, they're not like a tag team, and it's just gone from two women's single competitors to another two women single competitors. Moving on. There was a reason it got bumped to the pre-show.
Yeah.
Right, so we've glossed over the first three matches pretty quick, but we need to talk in detail about the women's Royal Rumble match. This was won by Bianca Belair, who entered at number 3, last eliminating Rhea Ripley. So the match started with Bayley as number 1 and Naomi as number 2, then followed by Bianca at number 3. When she came down at number 3, did you think, this might not be Bianca Belair's turn?
No, I think I said in the preview that I thought there was only 3 or 4 women that could win this match, and her being one of them. So I was never in doubt that she was going to be in it for the long haul. Her impressive performance in the 2020 Rumble sort of laid the foundations for this Rumble for her, really. She was really impressive last year. And she sort of carried that form across. And yeah, I was sort of never in doubt that she would not be in the Final 4. So I was always a believer that they trusted her, like we said in the preview pod. You've got to have someone in there you can trust. And Belair is definitely someone that they believe in.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, the 2021 sort of set the foundation for her. Because she's so good in the ring, she can, help others, sort of the legends and such, as and when they come. So, she's just an absolute star. Not surprised at all that she stayed as long as she did. But coming in number 3, you always feel it lessens their chance. I predicted Rhea, so seeing her come in so late as she did, it felt she had more chance than what Bianca did. But fair play to her. Absolutely buzzing for her. Loved her promo afterwards as well. There hasn't been too many as good a face promos as that. And her and Banks Mania night 1 main event. That should be it now.
Yeah, I think she gave a really impressive performance. When she came in at number 3, I was thinking, maybe it's not going to be, because I just thought obviously there's still so many women to come. So, but yeah, there wasn't really many eliminations at the start, was there? As the match sort of progressed, I think there was quite a lot of women in there at one stage. We'll talk about who else impressed us, but I think we've got to start with Rhea Ripley. Obviously, last woman eliminated. She also had the most eliminations with 7. Do you think that she was made a star as well as Bianca in this match?
I mean, for me, this was match of the night just because the Rumble is there to build stars. And we already knew Rhea Ripley was going to be a star, but it's just confirmed Bianca Belair as, a big hitter in 2021 as well. I actually feel a bit sorry for Ripley that since her run last year at WrestleMania, where she obviously lost the title to a Flair, she went for a little bit of transition on NXT, not really appearing in the main events and stuff. And now she's sort of come up just short again in the Rumble. But obviously, taking nothing away from Belair, I think they've got the right winner. But yeah, I just feel a little bit sorry for her. She's almost like that nearly person. So I'm hoping that she's still going to get a big opportunity at maybe the Raw women's title at WrestleMania, or be involved in some sort of big match. But I haven't seen Raw yet, so I don't know if there's any call-ups on there. But I'd felt a bit sorry for her, but what a performance. Like I said, I think it's about building stars, and Ripley and Belair come out of this Rumble as massive, massive stars now.
Yeah, she just fits so well on the main roster. As soon as her music hit, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is a good call-out. She just belongs now. Like, if you see her on NXT, you just sort of look and you're a bit like, you're better than this. You should be up now. And she has, I don't know what her ceiling is in the main roster, but yeah, she's going to win it all, and her time will come. She's just a star, and I love the layout of the ending of this Rumble, because you almost had the sort of present star with Charlotte, and then you had the 2 future ones, and it just shows. We talked about in the preview pod where the women's roster just felt like it needed like a shot of something new, and we were just given it. And I just felt the ending of this Rumble was just perfectly played out. And when me and Matt were texting, we're sort of there just like anyone but Flair now, which is no disrespect to Flair, but I think everyone just wanted someone new and someone like it just brings more excitement to it. And then when they were the last two, I don't think anyone cared who won. Either way, everyone was going to be happy with the outcome.
Yeah, I think they really made Rhea Ripley look amazing. Her elimination of who was it, Dana Brooke, the strength that she used was just incredible. I think it's the best elimination in the whole night. It was really, really good.
Was she? Did she also do quite a tough elimination to Dakota Kai on the apron as well? I think she got a pretty big hit. I can't remember who eliminated her, but
yeah, she did eliminate Dakota Kai.
She took a pretty big bump at the end. I know with what you're saying with the show of strength on Dana Brooks. Yeah, that was impressive. But Dakota Kai got absolutely buried on that outside. I was literally like, what a bump.
Rhea Ripley lasted 39 minutes and eliminated 7 women, so that's a really good showing for her. So even though she didn't win, I think she can definitely come out of this shining, really. She wasn't on Raw this week. That's not to say she won't turn up on SmackDown, but which brand would you like to see her on? Bearing in mind that obviously Bianca Belair, we guess, will challenge for SmackDown title, but we don't know that for sure yet.
Well, this was one of the more interesting during both Rumbles, the sort of seeds you look for who eliminates who, and watching Rhea just toss Bliss over when she was sort of halfway through changing was this quality. Like everyone sort of took a step back and Rhea was like, no time for this, just lobbed her out. And if that's her way up, sort of her and Bliss, that would be cool to have her join sort of Bliss's Funhouse. And especially with Rhea being very heavy metal, it just plays quite nicely and is quite a good step up on someone with Bliss as well. She can look like a powerhouse against Bliss, and Bliss is a good safe worker who can make Rhea look $1 million as well. So that would be where I'd like to see it head to start with.
So 2 other women that impressed me looking like beyond Belair and Flair was Naomi and Baszler. They both lasted a fairly long time. Naomi was 47 minutes and no eliminations, but Baszler 6 eliminations, 41 minutes. What did you think of them two? Did they sort of stand out for you as well?
I've just got to say it quickly. 47 minutes for Naomi should be scratched off, because that falling on your back and not being eliminated is a load of bollocks. Imagine every wrestler now just tips themselves out and just takes a hard bump to the back and then, turtles their way back to the ring. If you've got nothing creative for it, just don't do it. I just couldn't believe that happened. What a load of bollocks. But yeah, I had to say that because that just wound me up.
Yeah, total agreement. I'm sort of not really Naomi's biggest fan as well. So when her music hit, I was sort of like, I just didn't really care. And you always know that at some point in the Rumble she's going to do something adventurous by trying to get back into the ring, but lying on your back and not letting your feet hit the floor when you're not in any contact with the ring, for me, is just absolutely stupid. It's like, so not a fan of that at all. But Baszler, very impressive. Yeah, we know what she's like, and the only thing that annoyed me slightly was after, obviously, she got eliminated by Nia Jax, and then Nia Jax was quickly put out of the ring by Lana sort of a couple of minutes later. And then they both sort of teamed up to take out all the competitors left in the Rumble, and she sort of left side by side with her. Now, if that was me, I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't be settling for that, especially because they've got this combustible sort of relationship anyway. It just, I don't know, it made Baszler look a little bit weak for me, but yeah, I mean, impressive showing in the Rumble. She's definitely another future world champ for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say, going back to the women's tag titles, like, the relevancy is they're just eliminating each other. And then what I didn't get was they absolutely floored everyone in the ring, but didn't eliminate any of them. And it just felt like at that point that someone big was going to come back. Like, you just felt like someone was going to come out and just take them down before they just threw everyone over the ropes. And felt like a little bit of an opportunity missed. So a bit mystified that she got eliminated and they sort of walk off in the sunset together. But it just felt like someone big needed to come out and just sort of take them both down at that moment.
A quick question for you guys. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, do you want to see them as the women's tag champions at WrestleMania, or do you want to see them go 1-on-1 at WrestleMania?
I'd rather see 1-on-1. Mainly because who are they going to fight at WrestleMania? And when you talk about like WrestleMania is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, I don't want to throw away women's tag team title match in there against like two people they've just plucked out of thin air. I'd rather they just deeper dive into this sort of story and have them two go one-on-one.
Yeah, I think they owe Baszler a big WrestleMania moment after last year. Obviously, at the time, they didn't probably... Well, it wasn't public knowledge to the fans that Becky Lynch was about to go off and have a baby. So I think this year, going into Mania, she really needs a bumper match and just show the world what she can do on the biggest stage. So I think, personally, I'd like to see a singles match and them two go at it.
I think with Baszler, I really hope it doesn't come true as well. It almost feels like she gets a bit of the Samoa Joe treatment on the main roster, where like he should have been a world champion at some point, and he's never really quite got what his quality deserves from him. And I do worry that Baszler may go the same way because, like Will said in the previous pod, her NXT run as champion was excellent, and it would be a great shame if we don't get that on the main roster. And it was similar to sort of Samoa Joe vibes. I know they sort of wrestle the same in these submissions and stuff, so it's easy to sort of net them together. But he never got that world heavyweight title, and I really hope that doesn't sort of unfold for Baszler as well.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'd like to see them to go at it sort of singly in a WrestleMania match. We could still have a women's tag match on the card. Obviously, WrestleMania's 2 nights, but I think these two, give them a singles match. Like we said, it's 2 nights. Let's have the match we want to see. So we've sort of said who impressed us and who lasted long in the Women's Royal Rumble. Now let's look at maybe some women who didn't really last very long or impress us. And we're going to have to start with Alexa Bliss. She was in there for 1 minute, 2 seconds. This was someone that we thought could potentially win. What happened?
The thing is with that, it's so good for the storyline, like Jordan touched on earlier with Rhea knocking her out. Like, obviously, we've seen this character develop where the lights go out like the Fiend and she turns into this sort of devil woman. So for Rhea then to knock her out, it just, like, I was actually quite excited by it. I looked at it the other way. I was like, there's momentum going to be built here and hopefully a feud coming up with Bliss against Ripley potentially, and things that they could do moving forward. And then what I was actually thinking at the time was that when Natalya come out and what's it called, Jax and Baszler beat her up, I was thinking that the Fiend's music or Bliss's music was going to hit and she was going to then come out as the devil and take over. I was, coming into that number 30, I was like, they're going to do something here. It could be good. But yeah, it obviously didn't materialise. But there was a few in the Rumble. I mean, Carmella, I think, was only in there for about 43 seconds. So, and I mean, it was a bit of an inconspicuous sort of, appearance that she made. So, and she'd obviously been in the title match. So, yeah, I don't know. I was hoping that obviously she was going to be in it. I think I predicted her to be the Iron Woman. So, bit of egg on my face, but obviously predicted the winner of the Women's Rumble. So, made up for it there.
Yeah, I mean, when we made our predictions, Bliss was pretty high on it, but it's almost she got sacrificed for a longer developing story, which is never a bad thing. If you're not the one planned to win the Rumble, why not try and set up something down the line? And it's a shame it was only a minute long, and they could have maybe kept her in a little bit longer. But it plays well, and it makes Rhea look, great as well. So unfortunately for her, her sacrifice will sort of do WWE better in the long run.
Mm. Yeah, the only other person I would say I wanted to see a bit more of was Ember Moon, because I'm quite a big fan of Ember Moon. She was under 2 minutes as well, so I would like to have seen her get given a bit more of an opportunity. Other talking points on this Rumble very quickly. Alicia Fox won the 24/7 championship. What did you think of that, Jordan?
outrageous. I said in the preview on, I really hope we don't get a 24/7 title change. And I thought if we were going to get it, it'd be in the men's, and this one coming the women's. Yeah, not for me. This belt should just be solely on YouTube and go around the entertainment. Go to like the TV channels and stuff. Stay off the pay-per-views. Outrageous, just not for me. And then what made me die even more was she won it, and then all the blokes just entered the Rumble. I was like trying to chase down the champ. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It was just not needed for me at all.
It was a little bit of a circus, but light-hearted fun, and it was quite funny to watch Alicia Fox actually as they were trying to get up on the apron, knock them all off, and then obviously she then got eliminated and was chasing after R-Truth to try and win the belt back. So it was a little bit of comedy value. It sort of breaks it up because the match is on for over an hour, isn't it? So I don't know. It wasn't the worst thing for me, but yeah, if it was there or not, I can give or take it.
Before we do move on from the women's, we need to talk about Billie Kay because she was amazing. One of my highlights of the Rumble. I just think she's so funny. She may not be the best in the ring, but I just loved it. She just sat there on commentary, just tried to sign everyone up to, tag with her, and she was just comedy gold. And she just needs to be protected a little bit and just use her like this because she was just world class.
Yeah, when they split up the Iconics up, I thought that was going to be Billie Kay getting sort of lost, similar with Otis and the other guy from Heavy Machinery. That's what I mean. I can't even remember his name now. And I thought that was going to be Billie Kay. Yeah, Tucker. I thought that was sort of going to be Billie Kay of the Iconics, but she's actually turned out to be on TV probably more than Royce at the moment, and that surprised me. I didn't see this coming, really.
Yeah, and they've sort of, where she thought she was in the right squad, then they eliminated her. Again, further down the line is quite a nice storyline that can sort of take place on SmackDown. We sort of predicted Royce maybe eliminating her, but we did get into Iconics pose moment, which was quite nice. And she did well with I can't remember her name, Jillian Hall.
Mm-hmm.
When she was back, and she sort of helped her and sort of got her through her moments in the Rumble as well nicely. So she just did a fantastic job, Billie Kay, for me.
Yeah, when Jillian Hall came out, I completely forgot that she used to be in wrestling until she started singing, and then I was like, oh, that's who it is.
Yeah, I think this will probably go down as one of maybe the best women's Rumble match that we've had so far. I mean, there's only been, I think, 4, but this was really, really good. We had 6 NXT stars, 5 legends, and a very deserving winner, I think, in Bianca Belair, who I guess we all assume is going to go on to face Sasha Banks at WrestleMania.
Yeah, surely. That sort of poster already is going to start printing money for WWE, Banks and Belair. And for me, it has to be one of the nights. It has to be the main event. I think it could probably even be match of the night. I think that will be a spectacular match, and hopefully the feud up to it is amazing because they're both really good on the mic and promos. So looking forward to that, and hopefully Belair's choice is Banks.
I was going to say, I really hope that it's Banks as well, and I think that the two of them can put on an absolute show. And just in the build up to the Royal Rumble, I watched the Belair Chronicle. And, she talks about some of the difficulties she had in her life with bulimia and her coaches that sort of not abused her, but they gave her a hard time when she was between sort of 15 and 20. And, obviously trying to commit suicide. And it just shows you that, if you stick at what you believe in and work hard, you can achieve anything you want. And it was just quite inspirational that then that night she goes on to win the Rumble after watching that. So, yeah, she just seems very genuine, like we touched on with the post-match interview. I mean, I'm hoping she's going to go on to WrestleMania and win. I think they were saying the last 4 winners of the Rumble have gone on to Mania and win the title. So hopefully she can make it 5 in a row.
Yep, well said. Before we move on from the Women's Royal Rumble, let's just look back at our predictions. So, Barnesy, you had Belair to win, so that's a point for you. Most eliminations, Jordan said Belair, she had 4. Barnesy had Flair, she had 1, and I had Baszler, who had 6. So I'll take the point on that one. And then And then Iron Woman, Barnesy, you had Alexa Bliss, 1 minute 2 seconds. Jordan, you had Lacey Evans, and I had Charlotte Flair, who was 33 minutes. So another point for me on the board there.
Matt predicted the Minute Woman.
Right, so let's move on. The next match on the card, we had Roman Reigns retaining his Universal Championship against Kevin Owens in a great last man standing match. I absolutely loved this match. There were so many great spots. They went backstage. They were in where the crowd sort of should be. Kevin Owens looked amazing to me. I know, obviously, Roman Reigns went on to win, but Kevin Owens looked like he could become a world champion with this performance.
Yeah, what a match. Go on, George. You take it off, son.
No, I was just going to say, last pod we talked about Owens and Goldberg and how that may have dented Owens, and then this feud with Roman has done nothing but just signify how he is one of the top stars on WWE. Just an incredible feud. All the matches have been outrageously good. That Swanton, my God, he is fearless. And then he just brushed it off like it was nothing. He just got up and walked, he was back on his feet. I couldn't believe that. I was just like, Jesus, that must have killed. But Roman Reigns he's just the best in the world still at the moment. Just fantastic. And yeah, it's a good match when Roman's going to win the belt or retain, sorry. But through it, I genuinely thought they were going to give it to Owens. They made me believe we were going to get a title change. Fantastic match. People gripe on about the sort of the Heyman botch, but you look past that for the rest of the quality that was throughout this match.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that slightly hampered it, wasn't it? At the end, where they couldn't unlock Reigns from the handcuffs, and they already panned to Owens saying he was getting up, and then all of a sudden he's in the guillotine and he's out cold. But yeah, we talk about Roman Reigns being the best in the world, but he has elevated and helped Owens sort of get back to that star status, and hopefully he doesn't I know he's not won any of the matches that they've had, but hopefully this has elevated him and he's going to be able to sort of maintain a picture in a top spot on SmackDown, because he certainly deserves it. One thing I just was quite surprised about was that Jey Uso didn't turn up. I was just, it's been a theme in the rivalry that at some point he interferes in the match, but he didn't get involved. So yeah, what a match! Like you say, some spectacular spots.
Yeah, Jey Uso didn't even appear in the Royal Rumble, so I'm not sure if something sort of more to it than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the great spots. When he ran him over with the golf buggy, I could not believe that. It looked like the sort of screen went into Roman Reigns' face, and I think that's what cut him open a bit. And like you said, like Jordan said, so, Roman Reigns is going to win deep down, but they make you almost sort of question what you think you should know. It was a really, really good match. I thought it was a 5-star match.
Yeah.
I love the genius of when Reigns was handcuffed and it looked like he was dead and buried, and then he just grabbed the ref and just hit him, threw him into the thing. That was just, it's those little moments like that make it so good, because you're sitting there thinking he's stuck now. There is no way he can get to his feet, and then he just, grabs the ref by the belt and lobs him. And the camera work for that golf buggy was insane, because I just didn't even see it coming. And then all of a sudden you just see Owens just gone through it. It was, what a match. What a last man standing match.
Yeah, it sort of scared me a little bit when he got hit by the golf buggy. I just did not expect it, because they lined up the camera shot so well. It was almost like, Austin from Survivor Series 99. It was like, geez. But, yeah.
It happened at, who was it? I think Kane did it to Raven, I think, at WrestleMania 17. He took him down with a golf buggy. So, just what I did like as well, we had those moments, but a lot of it wasn't just them absolutely sort of kicking each other to death with loads of weapons and stuff. It was very grounded in the sense as well. Just fantastic wrestling. Even though this is a crossover between 2020 2021, this feud, it's definitely going to be one hard to top. for the remainder of the year. It feels it's just been excellent the whole way through, even including Adam Pearce and Heyman. I loved all the subject to change stuff. I just think it's been an excellent feud, and it's going to be hard to, it's exciting to see who Roman has next, because he keeps elevating these guys with him.
Okay, and then main event time. We had Edge winning the men's Royal Rumble match. He entered at number 1, last eliminating Randy Orton, who was number 2. What did you think of this Royal Rumble, and did Edge deserve to win?
We've got so much to say on this one. Oh God, I was a bit underwhelmed when he won, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I was so buzzing for the women's Rumble and the way it ended that I was hoping they were going to make more stars or more new stars in the men's side. And yeah, I'm not that excited that Edge has won. Like, even if he was to fight Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre at Mania now, I'm just like, I don't know. I think I'm coming around to the idea more that it's happened now, but yeah, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by it. I might be in the minority when I say that, but yeah, I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I agree. I actually thought there was something about the men's Rumble. I just felt like it didn't really click. Like, you think about all the stars in it, it's hard to really give a standout performance. I know Edge went from 1 all the way, but it just feels a bit stale. It almost feels like this Rumble, if it would have got more appreciation if it was on before the women's. I think the women's one was so good that this one was never going to be able to top it. And it did feel a little bit like it was just the Edge and Randy story, because as soon as Randy went to the back, you knew, like, I don't know, it just felt like you knew he was coming back. The only real swerve was that he actually got eliminated by Edge in the end. As soon as Rollins went over, it was like, well, this is it. This is Randy now. He's just going to do that typical heel work and lob Edge out. So it was quite nice to see, and it's a great story for Edge. But yeah, I think with the Rumble, you like to see the new stars. You want to see who the company wants to put on their back, and you want to see the new stars. You want to see like a Belair and I don't know, like a complete loss, who I'd say, or like a Sami Zayn, given a chance. So yeah, I feel the same. Just a bit underwhelmed with the whole Rumble, not just Edge winning it. The whole Rumble just felt a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, I think it all started before the Rumble even like kicked off. When they announced that Edge and Orton were 1 and 2 on this backstage show, for me I just don't like that. It ruins it, and then you're always thinking they're going to do something with one of these two for a reason. And like I just mentioned about Austin getting run over in '99, it reminded me a little bit of the Royal Rumble '99 when Austin and McMahon started, and then they obviously take it to the crowd, and they come back towards the end, and it was sort of similar in terms of what happened with Orton. He obviously got the injury from the table spot, and then went off with, after getting hit a few times to the leg, and then the music doesn't hit, the bell doesn't ring when he throws Seth Rollins out, and you're just thinking, oh, here he is, and then he RKO's him, and I'm like, God, Orton's won, and I was like, yeah. Then he obviously turns it round, wins, and I don't know, it just sort of wasn't for me. I'm not that excited by it.
Yes, so for me, I'm quite a big Edge fan, and I'm fairly happy that he won. I just don't know if he had to come in at number 1, because he didn't really do anything until the end. He was just sort of there. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't making himself look any better by being in there that long. I don't know. I was just I was a bit bored of him until the end. If that's not being too harsh.
There was basically no reason. Like you said, there was no reason for him to be number 1.
Yeah, I'm glad he won, because I think now with the title match at WrestleMania, whichever one he picks, it's going to be a really good match, and he does sort of make that title match feel extra special. So maybe in that respect, they have picked a good winner. But yeah, maybe just how the match ran, I'm not sure I would have put him in at number 1.
I just think the whole men's Rumble, you don't really look at anyone who was in it and feel like they had like the standout performance. It just all felt a bit like it almost passed us by. It just sort of happened, and even though Edge was in there an hour or however long, and he eliminated a fair few, I think it feels like you don't sit there and go like, bloody hell, what a performance by him. And it felt like that for everyone. And I think I texted Matt at the time when Seth come out, because before he was like Bookie's favourite. And as soon as that Messiah music hit, I knew he weren't winning.
Yeah.
It just felt like he was not winning unless it was like, if it went like burn it down and then he, jumps to the ring, I think he takes it home. But that Messiah gimmick is probably the biggest disappointment of the men's Rumble coming back.
Just speaking about Edge, so in the match he had 3 eliminations. That was Braun Strowman near the end, where he eliminated him with Christian. He also eliminated Rollins and Orton. So really, apart from eliminating sort of the last 3 out of 4 people, he didn't really do anything before then. But Edge has now become the 8th 2-time winner. He's the 3rd person to enter number 1 and win. And he's the first person to win the Royal Rumble after entering the Hall of Fame.
Wow. That's what I mean. He's already got a Hall of Fame career. He's won the Rumble. For me, I know like it is probably one of the greatest comeback stories of all time now that you're talking about it and you see it touted about on Twitter, but I'm still underwhelmed by it.
No, go on, you go first. Because
I was going to say with Edge, it seems like all the matches he's been in so far have all seemed quite long. So I was just looking through Twitter or Instagram and I saw some stats of the last. So before this, he was in 3 other matches. He was in the Royal Rumble 2020. He was in there for 23 minutes. And then he had that match at WrestleMania, which was 36 minutes, and that match was way too long, wasn't it? That one with Randy Orton. And then he had the greatest match ever at Backlash, which was 45 minutes, basically, or just shy of 45 minutes. And then again, Royal Rumble just gone 58 minutes. It seems like they squeeze in every minute out of Edge they can.
Well, the thing is, until this last week on Raw, where he cut a sort of 2-3 minute promo, I wouldn't have even known he was going to be turning up. Like, he could have been a surprise entrance, but he's gone from turning up on Raw, declaring himself in the Rumble because he's, I get the story. He never lost the belt. He wants to get it back. I can see the angle they're going with. But then all of a sudden, the show before Mania, he's being told he's number 1. And then he goes on and wins it. It's just, I think you can tell I'm not a massive fan of this.
I'd been interested to know if he never got that injury, if they would have still booked him to win this. Was it not handouts the wrong sort of word? But yeah, if he didn't have the injury, I don't know if he wins this. And I imagine, I haven't seen Raw, but I imagine he's probably going to fight Drew at Mania. And this is Drew's 2nd hold of this belt now. And I just don't think WWE have given him, apart from the Randy Orton one, have given him any very good feuds. When you compare him to Roman, and I feel Drew deserves a bit more than Edge. I feel like he needs, like how we've just had Reigns and Owens. We've never really had that with McIntyre. He's fought Goldberg now. And yeah, but the story of Edge is great, but I don't know if this is what I wanted to see for Drew at Mania.
Yeah, so I've quickly whizzed through Raw, and Edge does come down and does have a face-off with McIntyre, but he says he hasn't chosen which champion he wants to face yet. And rumour mill on the internet is that he's actually going to pick Roman Reigns. That's the match they want to build towards WrestleMania. If it's up to you, who would you want to see?
I mean, putting him with Roman makes more sense because, like we've just discussed with Roman, he will elevate Edge. What Edge's body may or may not be able to do, Roman will elevate him more. I really don't want to see Drew and Sheamus at WrestleMania. So,
if Sheamus turned on Drew and Raw as well.
Yeah. God, I don't want to see that. I'd rather Drew and Edge than Drew and Sheamus. AJ for me for Raw, but yeah, Edge and Roman would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think in the build-up we were just sold like a few really good little stories that could happen, and then we sort of didn't get any of them. We just got Edge going after the title that he's not lost. So whoever he fights, I can't see him not winning at Mania, which again is a little bit of a shame for me.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, it would be weird to give him this moment and then not win the belt at Mania. It feels like he's sort of built to go on and recapture the title now.
In the words of Vince McMahon, it's a guarantee.
Yeah, so like you said, one person who's back is Seth Rollins. That was probably the one of the big comebacks to come out of this men's Royal Rumble match. And like you said, he came back as the Messiah, which was a bit disappointing. Where can we see Rollins going now? Because really, if Edge went to sort of challenge Reigns, I know it's obviously on the wrong show, but I think Rollins McIntyre would be pretty decent.
Well, again, Rollins eliminated Daniel Bryan, so if they dive deeper into that would be fantastic. Imagine them two one-on-one at Mania. That would be incredible. Yeah, I'm just not fully on board with this Messiah gimmick. I think that died with the Mysterios feud. Whatever there was for it is just dead to me. And whenever I see it, I just think back to that feud as well. And yeah, he should be so much better than that now. And hopefully we get that. Hopefully the Messiah thing does disappear.
Well, so we've had a bit of doom and gloom with the men's Rumble. Let's pick up a bit. Let's say some stand-up performances who we liked. And I'll kick it off with Damian Priest. He was the only NXT star to come in. 4 eliminations. I thought he looked brilliant.
Yeah, big fan of Damian Priest. Every time I watch him, I just get more and more impressed. Yeah, big star. Shame he got eliminated by Lashley, really. But maybe there's going to be something in that, and he might get a shot at the IC or the United States Championship going forward. But yeah, I enjoyed his performance. I actually enjoyed Matt Riddle's performance, and I was just talking about Rollins. It was intriguing that we know there's this backstage heat with Riddle and Rollins, and they actually come to blows, and Rollins actually eliminated Riddle after I think he got a kick from Strowman and then a curb stomp on the outside. So when they come to blows, I was a little bit like, are they actually going to get in the ring? Because for a little bit before Rollins eliminated Daniel Bryan, Riddle was in the ring and he was loitering on the outside, and I was like, he's not going to get in until Riddle goes out. And I was thinking, how long is this going to last? Because Riddle was actually looking pretty impressive. Like you say, I really enjoyed Priest's performance. I really liked Riddle. And then there was just some underwhelming performances though. Like, I don't think Cesaro was in there actually too long. I would like to have seen him get a little bit more of a run in the Rumble. I think King Corbin was in and out. He come in at 19 and then was eliminated by Dominic Mysterio. I mean, it just carries on their feud, I suppose. But Ricochet in at 12, 10th man out. Even someone like Jeff Hardy, first man eliminated in this Rumble. So yeah, there was some really good performances, but some other ones that I just wish that we saw. And there were some stars that didn't even enter the Rumble, like Keith Lee, Jey Uso. I thought was going to be in there, and I'm still just so disappointed Adam Cole wasn't in it. To be honest, that was one I was really, really hoping for in this Rumble.
Yeah. Priest was given a Booker T spot as well with Miz and Morrison and getting Bad Bunny up on the top rope.
Yeah,
where he nearly slipped. That left foot looked a bit dodgy as he was jumping onto Miz and Morrison. I loved the Big E and Lashley coming together. I thought that was good. I'm quite a big fan of both of them. So to see them sort of mix it was quite nice. And yeah, we have to discuss as well Carlito. Give that man a little contract. God, he looked well in shape. If he's this year's MVP, who doesn't like Carlito with the apple? And he could definitely have a little run in on one of the shows still.
Well, he was on Raw as well this week, teaming with Jeff Hardy. So it looks like he is going to be maybe part of the roster for a while. Just a quick question, especially to you, George, as you're into your fitness. How many apples a day do you have to eat to look like that? Because Carlito looked jacked.
Yeah, he was looking good. It's probably more than just the apples he's been administering on himself. But yeah, I mean, he looked like he didn't really miss a beat either. I did text Matt last night saying, we'll get the standard returning legend tag team match, but I got every competitor he would be in wrong, it seems. But yeah, he did look good, and why not keep him around for a little bit, bit of nostalgia. It's just looking excellent. I liked him when he was in it originally when I was a lot younger. So he spits in the face. or the people who don't want to be cool.
Well, we had some other legends as well turn up. Christian, for me, was one I was a big fan of him back in the day, and he gave a good performance. And rumour is he's going to stick around on a part-time deal.
Yeah, he came back for that unsanctioned match with Randy, didn't he? When Edge first come about. But yeah, again, it's just good to see him. Another one who never really got to the top like a lot of people would have hoped for. So if he sticks around, that'd be pretty cool. He'd obviously do him and Edge when they're on the promos together are great. It's sort of like how Miz and Morrison are now. I think they have that sort of similar comedy factor to what Edge and Christian used to have. So yeah, another one. Just it's good sometimes they stick around.
You can imagine because they're obviously not on shows. They're going to go as a pair, Edge and Christian. You'd imagine, and there would be some sort of involvement with them. I suppose leading up to Mania now. Yeah, we're talking about legends. I didn't really need to see the appearance of the Hurricane again. I think they've done that a couple of times now, and he always does the same thing. Where back in the day, I think it was the 2001 Rumble where he tries to choke slam. Is it Kane and the Big Show or Kane and Undertaker? Yeah. And then he's done that a few times now. It's just there's a little bit of nostalgia there. You're a little bit like, it's the Hurricane, and then it's like, yeah, he goes for the double choke slam and then he's thrown out straight away. So we've probably seen that too much for me, but yeah, again with Christian, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of him, to be honest, either. I'm just a bit doom and gloomy with this Rumble for me.
This men's Rumble wasn't yours.
No, so let me tell you. For you. Let me bring something that I didn't like about this Rumble, because as you two have just been telling me all your woes the last 10 minutes or so. The thing I didn't like about the men's Rumble was Omos.
Yeah.
Omos. He eliminated Big E and Rey Mysterio. He wasn't even in the match. I just don't like this at all. I don't know what it really achieves. I mean, they're on different brands as well. What do you think of this?
Yeah, like the Big E one was just so random. Like Big E was just standing there, and he just grabbed him. Like it was pretty impressive because of how big he was. He could just literally grab him by that. But when you put that into play and then you do nothing with AJ, it's really weird because he eliminated two to help him, and then there was a point where AJ nearly got eliminated. And Omos is just standing by the commentary table. It's just like, surely you're going to follow him around the ring if you're like protecting him. And so it just made it a bit weird. I did like it when he did get eliminated, where he lobbed him at Omos, he caught him, threw him back in, and then he sort of almost gave Omos the little drop of the shoulder, threw him over the other side.
Yeah, I love that as well.
But yeah, it was just a bit strange. Once you start putting that into motion, I feel like AJ should have been in longer or done more with it than what he did. And it just goes back. I don't think there was really a standout wrestler in this fought. Every men's wrestler, they came, did a little bit, and then were eliminated.
Yeah, it was probably a bit of a stop-start one, wasn't it, really? No one, like you said, no one really got going. No one really... The most eliminations was Priest, Big E and Rollins, all with 4. So no one really stood out. No one was in there that long, really, apart from Edge and Orton. Apart from the next one after that was Riddle, like you said. So he was only just over 30 minutes. Everyone else, pretty short.
I mean, they had Braun at number, was he
30?
30. Oh, he was 30. Yeah, that was underwhelming. Like, it felt like someone big should come back, but I just can't get behind Braun, whether I don't know why. He almost felt like you needed him like halfway through to literally clean out about 10 people. Having him come in that late was, it's not his sort of character. He needs to be in there when there's lows and he can just shoulder tackle them all over the ring. So yeah, nothing really. Yeah, no one just stood out.
To compile our misery, should we talk about Sami Zayn being the second person eliminated? Like, I mean, it just
conspiracy.
Yeah, it just went from bad to goddamn awful. Yeah.
Did you hear the stat that number 3 is the worst number to get?
Yeah.
Come out?
They said that after Belair had won from number 3, so it's quite it was funny from that point of view. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. When dissecting this, I didn't realise how much I pretty much hated this Rumble.
So what do you think? I as a Rumble, I don't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
No.
Mate, what do you think? Do you think it's because we was expecting more? Was we expecting to see The Fiend? Was we expecting to see Keith Lee, Jace? Is that what was missing, do you think?
I just think things didn't click. In the women's one, they had some good little moments like the Iconics and sort of the Lana getting rid of Nia. They had like these little good things, and then the end of it, you had the people you wanted to see at the end. With the men's, it felt like it was set up for a Randy Edge sort of taking over the show, but then Randy's backstage, and yeah, no one really seemed to. I don't know. It's just a bit of a weird one. It just didn't click for me.
Yeah, I think the underwhelming feeling I've got is that there's no new stars coming out of it. There's no one going, oh my god, they're gonna rule 2021. You still think that the two guys holding the belts could possibly retain at Mania. I mean, I know we said Edge is probably going to win. I don't know. We don't know who he's going to fight yet, but like the women's, you're like, but I'm buzzing for the women's. There's just so much potential. Whereas the men's, I think it's dried up. They're going back to someone who's already won a Rumble, already been a world champion, already had a Hall of Fame career. Just, I don't know.
I think that's a byproduct of it as well, is how good the women's one was. If you swap these two around in the pay-per-view order, maybe you look back a bit more fondly on the men's, because the women's one was excellent. It's probably one of the better ones they've had, over men's and women's for a while. So that definitely overshadowed the men's one as well.
Yeah, and in this one, like they just had Kane appear, didn't they? So that it maintains like his record appearances in the Rumble. I think it's now set at 18, and
he came in at 18 as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and Dolph Ziggler, I think he's second in the list, and this was his 14th Rumble, and I think it was the Miz 13. So they're just keeping people in there for the sake of keeping them in there, almost like. I don't know. There was I think I was just expecting, like you say, Priest was the only NXT call up. I don't know. I think the bottom line is I expected more.
Yeah, and when you see that with Belair, you crave more of it. You're like, oh, we've got someone new going to Mania, and you sort of crave it again for the men. You're like, oh, who's going to get this opportunity then? So it's nothing to take away from Edge, because his story's still like so good, and the promo package they do for it is going to be outrageous, and we'll be sitting here post-Mania going, fucking hell, that promo was so good. But just at the moment, I think we just craved just more sort of new, and that's just not how the men's one went.
Yeah, I think once we move on in the storyline and we go to Elimination Chamber and there's, we get a clearer direction of what's going to happen at Mania, I'll definitely get on board with Edge. I think it's just a little bit raw at the moment, and I was just, hoping for something a bit better, I think.
I think it might be one where we maybe watch it again next year or a couple of years' time, and it'll probably come across as a fairly decent Rumble, but maybe when you're in the moment and you're thinking you want a surprise, you want someone to shock you, maybe it was just lacking that, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of creative decision as well. Like, sometimes you can't solely blame the wrestlers because they're told what they, the storylines and the angles that they're being given. But like Jordan touched on, there's so many good angles in the women's one. It's I don't know, the men's one just felt a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, good thing is they've got 2 pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania, so they can obviously build stars that way. They've got the Elimination Chamber, which they've worked for Kofi Kingston in it a few years ago, so they've got more sort of avenues to explore.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, before we leave this Royal Rumble match, just look at our predictions. No one predicted Edge to win. I think Barnsley probably had the best one with Daniel Bryan. Probably was one of the later ones eliminated. Give him half a point for that. Most eliminations was an absolute disaster. I had Nakamura with 0. Barnsley had Keith Lee, who didn't enter, and Jordan had Cesaro with 0.
I think I win then by default. I didn't enter and got the same as you lot.
Yeah, and then the Iron Man, I had Jey Uso. He's still not entered. And then Jordan had Sami Zayn. He lasted 13 minutes. And Barnsley had Daniel Bryan, which was 28 minutes, I believe. Barnsley probably got the point on that. So that is the men's Royal Rumble. That's the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I'd say, even though maybe we're not like blown away by the main event, definitely a thumbs up pay-per-view.
Yeah, very good pay-per-view. If they swapped the women's and men's round, we're probably talking about using more like saying this is excellent and what else. But yeah, great pay-per-view still.
Yeah, I thought it was an amazing Royal Rumble. Even though we've criticised the men's one a bit, and like Will says, when we watch it back in time, I think we're appreciating more once Edge is, finally in retirement, like for good. You'll look back on it with fond memories that he was, what it is an unbelievable story that he's come back and won. Great Rumble, thumbs up.
And you think as well, with Rumbles, they are very heavily reliant on the crowd. So to come out of this with saying how good a Rumble this was without a crowd, and they're throwing in like their own crowd noise, maybe by the end of it, it's a long pay-per-view, so you're a little bit more tired than usual. So maybe that's why the men's one felt a little bit more stale, because you didn't have the crowd to sort of keep you going through it. So yeah, well played to them, because a Rumble's probably the hardest one to do without fans there.
Yeah, good point, that.
Yeah, they really emphasised the 10, didn't they? I don't know if you noticed it, but the 10 almost seemed a lot louder than the rest of the numbers, just so they got you like 10, and then it was like, oh.
No, just you falling asleep, Matt.
Yeah,
back up.
Especially at the end. But yeah, I was just going to say, like, the Women's Rumble just, talking about the whole card, just completely delivered. There were so many stars created in it, and I think for a little, 30 seconds or so, Becky Lynch teased the whole world that she was going to come back by posting that image on social media of the curtain. So I was a little bit like, is she, like we were saying earlier about the number 30 when Natalya got injured, were we going to see a repeat where Becky Lynch comes out? It's just, I just felt the Women's Rumble stole the show, and I'm so looking forward to Belair at Mania now. As she says, the EST in WrestleMania, it's there.
Good stuff. Well, that is the end of today's show. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed our podcast and the Royal Rumble. If you're just listening to us for the first time, maybe a podcast that you used to listen to is sort of having a little break and you've decided to give us a try, thank you very much. Like we said, you can follow us on Twitter. We've got quite a few shows coming up, so please subscribe. In February, we've got Ask the Pinfall. So you get to know myself, Jordan and Barnsley a bit more. You can ask us anything you like, really. You can ask us what our favourite matches, our favourite wrestlers, predictions, who's going to win the Premier League, anything. Nothing is off the limits. So, we're going to be dropping a few tweets over the next few weeks. So you can either reply to them, you can send us a DM on Twitter. Obviously, we're on YouTube, so you can just leave a comment in our YouTube channel. And on Instagram, the artist, Jordan, we'll be putting up a few graphics. We'll be putting up a story as well. So plenty of ways to get your question in. We're really looking forward to it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. This is The Pinfall. Time to ring the bell.